Yolan True and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And today I want to talk about mission boss crews. I recently realized I haven't done a video on them yet, but they were extremely helpful for me on my way to my first level 53 ships. And I did almost all missions that you can do as long as you are below level 60. And you must remember I am level 53 now, since very recently. So those mission boss crews were extremely important. And there are 3 different crews because of ship classes. Against battleships, interceptors and explorers, they are different, but not extremely different. And of course there are a lot of crews out there on the internet, I know that. And I just want to talk about those that I personally used, and from my experience, they helped me the most. And I also have to add that my standard crews against big hostiles, like the Beverly crew with Giorgio and Tal, or the Enterprise E crew and everything, didn't work that well. But let's have a look. I just put them on one ship that I have home. Don't look at the below deck because that's usually a minor, but I'm doing batch filming again, so I just needed a ship where I can put them on the bridge. And this is one of the crews. This is 5 of 11 as captain, with Khan and with Kang. And the crew will look similar for all 3. Let's start with 5 of 11. Weaponry is irrelevant as the captain maneuver. 5 of 11 increases the shield deflection, armor and dodge by 200% of the total health of all officers on the ship. And that's one of the important things here. The officer ability is not that important. That increases the resources that hostiles drop. I use that for a lot of other things in a loot crew, but not for this one. So her captain maneuver is the important thing here, that she increases shield deflection, armor and dodge by 200% of the health. From Khan, I use the officer ability Savage Tenacity. Every time the ship is hit by a ship or a defense platform weapon attack, Khan increases the critical hit chances by 3%, and that's cumulative. You know Khan from freebooter crews, etc., but for mission bosses, Khan is very helpful as well. And those 2 are in all 3 crews. The 3rd officer changes, and this change of the 3rd officer is really important when you go for mission bosses. They are battleships, interceptors or explorers. Kang works against interceptors, and Kang's officer ability that we use is the Blood Oath. At the start of battle, Kang increases the accuracy of the ship by 400% of the attack of the crew on the ship. And we need that accuracy against interceptors. But he's not that useful against battleships or explorers. So when you go for mission bosses, you always have to have a look which class of ship is that. And that's what I did. I recently realized that I sometimes forgot about my mission boss crews. It was quite some time ago, and so I had some open missions that I completely forgot about. My Voyager, which I would have needed for those missions because of the warp range, because none of my other ships could get there, was on paper too weak to do them. And so I didn't do them for a bit until I realized again you forgot about your mission boss crews. Because when you don't do missions for a bit, then you forget about crews sometimes. And then I remembered what I usually used to do in the cases of those very difficult ones. And for the interceptors, I used the Kang crew. And then for for the battleships that I had to beat, instead of Kang, I used Charvenek. Charvenek has the officer ability of Mind Games. At the start of combat, Charvenek increases the armor piercing of the ship by 400% of the health of the crew. And in this case, against battleships, you need the armor piercing and not the accuracy. You need the armor piercing. And with Charvenek in that team, I could then beat the mission bosses on my missions that were battleships. And then, of course, I also had to beat explorers. And for them, I have to scroll a little bit further because I haven't maxed him that much. That is Admiral Marcus. Marcus and his officer ability of shady methods. At the start of battle, Alexander Marcus increases the shield piercing of the ship by 200% of the defense of the crew on the ship. That is what I needed against the explorers. So for the interceptors, you need accuracy. For the battleships, you need, the piercing. And for the explorers, you need the shield piercing. And that's how this works. If you have a number of mission bosses you have to beat, use 5 of 11 in Khan, and then for the types of the mission bosses, if it's interceptor, battleship, or explorer, change around the 3rd officer. Once again, Kang for interceptors, Charvenek for battleships, and Marcus for explorers. And that made it possible that I managed to do all open missions I had, and there's only one mission left for me. No, that's the wrong button. From all the missions I collected I have access to the whole space that you can access before level 60 because of my warp range, and I did all missions available with not interesting if it's Federation, Neutral, Klingon or Romulan, because after level 50 I suggest you do all the missions to get the credits, to get the pass deal, to get the titanium and everything you get there. For the reputation it's not that important anymore, but you can get a lot of blueprints as well already. And so I should suggest after going beyond level 50, do all those missions available to give you a lot of stuff you need. And there's only one left, and that's not because of a mission boss. That's because I have to defeat 10 hostiles of level 57 or higher in Die Room, and that's a system where you need a warp range of 440, but there are 200 million hostiles, and I cannot do that with my Voyager at the moment. So that's the only mission I have left. I've done everything else existing in the space that you can access below level 60-61. And so there you see that those mission boss crews indeed do work. I defeated most of those mission bosses with my Voyager, which is not upgraded that much. And they are still all done. And that is because of those mission boss crews I told you in this video. And if you are having trouble, test those crews, please, and let me know in the comments if it worked for you. If you have different experiences, of course you can tell, but that's my personal experience, and I did all those missions now. And so I really am very fond of these crews. And if you just have questions in general or video requests, you know that I regularly read the comments. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.